So Rashida Tlaib just gave basically the progressive response to the State of the Union, and it was by far the best speech. Now you're going to say, of course, you guys are progressives.
Tim Reynolds was good, but
yeah, the Republican response was comically bad. They're like, if we just gave the rich a little bit more, I think we're going to be okay. We don't like blue states, we like red states. That was a Republican response. So now, look, it's not that just because we agree with Rashida Tlaib more. There are facts in the world. So for example, she said, well, Biden could use executive orders. Well, that's what we said after Biden's speech. John made that point. Well, that's a fact, right? So did Biden use his power or didn't he use his power? Well, he didn't. So she's saying, well, these are the things that I didn't say you were going to do. You were saying, she didn't say it antagonistically the way I am, right? But she calmly explained these are the agenda that not just for progressives, but for the Democratic Party. So use your executive order power. Well, that's a fact. He can, and he's choosing not to. Okay, so then she explained why we don't get anything done. She laid out the same exact agenda as Biden, except Biden doesn't mean it, Rashida Tlaib does. Now, how do I know? Why am I imputing that? Well, Biden didn't fight for that agenda. And Rashida Tlaib is saying, look, I'll tell you why it didn't pass, because of corporate donors. First of all, let's note that that is a big sea change. No Democrat would ever say that for like the last 30 years. I mean, they all protect their own. Oh, you're taking corporate cash, you're taking corporate cash, shh. Don't tell people what's actually happening. Well, these progressives, they don't take corporate PAC money. So she's assessing, and by the way, even if you're a Republican, you know you agree. You know all those politicians are corrupt. Who corrupted them? The corporate cash, the money that people give them, the giant checks that people give them. So who do you think has the facts? Biden, by the way, the Republican response who says never mention corporate donors, never mention any of that, talked about how she wants to do more tax cuts for the rich, but didn't mention that's because she gets funded by the rich. Who do you think's telling the truth? Rashida Tlaib's telling the truth. Even if you don't agree with some of her policy positions, you still know, well, that's true, They do work for the guys who sign their checks. And she's the only one brave enough and honest enough to say it. And then things like rising prices. Everybody's like, oh, inflation. So Democrats say, oh, okay, Republicans, you win, it's a big deal, I'll just do everything. The Republicans say, oh, it's all your fault, I'll tell you what, you try to give too much to the American people. That's what the Republican response was. We're gonna stop that spending. Spending on who? Child tax credit, that goes to you to take care of your children. Paid family leave, that goes to you when you're right after a pregnancy. Instead of having to go right back to work, you can actually take care of your baby for a short period of time. All these things, the spending was for you that Biden theoretically proposed. And the Republicans say, don't spend on you. We already gave $2 trillion tax cut to the rich. We don't want to spend on you. Now, when Rashida Tlaib says, well, no, wait a minute, we do want to spend on you. You're our voters. That's who we're supposed to serve. That's a fact, right? And then on top of that, rising prices, what I started with, inflation. Well, who raised the prices? Businesses did, right? I mean, if your car is more expensive, God didn't raise the price, Biden didn't raise the price. By the way, Mitch McConnell or Donald Trump didn't raise the price. It was GM, Ford, and all the car companies.
The CEOs he pointed to in the
yeah, Biden was like praising the CEOs. Oh, way to go, CEOs. Oh, I wonder where inflation came from. It came from that dude. Right? And Rashida Tlaib had the facts. Well, the people who raised the prices were the corporations. Now there's macroeconomic influences, but at the end of the day, those corporations, as we've shown you on the show, are still making billions of dollars in profits. So they made a choice to take advantage of those economic situations, to price gouge and to make even more profits and make you pay more.
Exactly.
That's a fact. So Rashida Tlaib had the best speech by far. Even if you don't agree with everything, you can't argue that she's the only one who was honest.
Yeah, I mean, how could anyone argue that it wasn't the best speech of the night? I mean, in presentation, in charisma, in obviously on the issues, yes, we agree with her. But I do want to add one more thing in regard to the corruption by corporate interests. That's obviously a huge problem in the country. But I would like to see progressives weave in the fact that members of Congress are investing in individual stocks, because that is a huge problem as well. And even if we miraculously do away with money in politics, if you have these lawmakers personally invested in these corporations, they're always gonna root for the corporate interests over the best interests of their own constituents.
Yes, and I would add that I would have done one more thing, or she should have called out people by name. So we don't mind critiquing progressives at all. We've done it many, many times. You know why? We actually care about the news, and we're honest. So she should have said Manchin and Sinema screwed us, screwed the whole country. And by the way, if it wasn't Manchin or Sinema, it would have been 2 other corporate Democrats, because they're not really on our side. I know she's not gonna get that honest.
She talked about the filibuster. That was as close as she came, was the racist legacy and people's willingness to uphold it. But yeah, didn't name him by name.
Let me just say something quick on that. Does the filibuster have a racist legacy? It does. You might say, hey, I like it anyway. I don't think that's what they're using it for now. You'd be wrong, but that's okay. You could say that, well, they use it against voting rights, but I don't want people to have voting rights. Whatever you say, but you can't say the filibuster doesn't have a racist legacy. It does. That's the whole point. It was meant to protect Jim Crow laws. It's a fact on the bills that they used it for. There's no question about it. Did the House get rid of it? Yes. Could the Senate get rid of it right now? Is it in the Constitution? It's not in the Constitution. Yes, the Senate can get rid of it. Again, on the facts, she's 100% right. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.